there is apparently a movie in the works about the life and career of former WBC heavyweight champion and British sporting icon Frank Bruno. Now, this is pretty interesting news to me. I'm going to quote Bruno's agent, Dave Davies. He says it will be a British film about his life story and will be humorous with a great soundtrack. We've seen the first draft of the first chapter and it looks great. It's really starting to come together. It's a real great British feel-good story, and Frank is one of our great icons. So many people said he should do a film because it's such a great story. It would be great to get Will Smith on board or someone like Idris Elba, but they need to have the right physique and, importantly, be able to recreate his laugh. So those are the words of Frank Bruno's agent, Dave Davies. Now, I don't know which part of Frank Bruno's life they're looking to base this movie on, whether it's going to be the older Bruno or whether the majority of it is going to be the young Frank Bruno. If it's going to be predominantly based on the young Frank Bruno and his boxing career, then obviously Idris Elba is far too old to play a young Frank Bruno. Idris Elba's in his, 40s, mid-40s, late 40s, something like that. He has the height, Elba. I know he's a tall guy. He's got a imposing stature and physique. And obviously he could pump some weights to get himself up to Frank Bruno type size. But yeah, he's just too old to play a young Frank Bruno. And as far as Will Smith, oh my gosh, I think I would lose the will to live if Will Smith got cast as Frank Bruno. Number one, he looks nothing like Frank Bruno. Number two, he don't have Frank Bruno's accent. And I do not think there's any way in hell he'd be able to accurately replicate Frank Bruno's accent, right? That South London monotone that Bruno has. No way. And furthermore, I don't think, this is just my personal view, I don't think Will Smith is a particularly good actor anyway. I only ever liked him in one thing, and that wasn't a movie. It was The Fresh Prince. I liked him in The Fresh Prince. As far as all his movies, I don't like none of them. I didn't like him in Ali. I thought he was horrible in Ali. You know, people may disagree, but that's just my view. I couldn't take him seriously. You know, Ali, for all his clowning, he was a serious guy. You know, if you were in front of Ali and he was hitting you, it weren't funny. When he wanted to turn the killer instinct on, he was vicious. Will Smith's ears are just far too big and his face just looks far too comical for him to play a convincing Ali. That's just was always my view anyway. As far as who could play Frank Bruno, the young Frank Bruno, it's not going to be easy. They need somebody that can capture that iconic laugh. They need somebody who is tall enough and who has the kind of stature. I mean, they don't have to have the physique of Bruno, but they need to be able to build their physique into a Bruno physique. So they need to have a decent base physique, if you will. There's one of the guys who fought in the Olympics, one of the heavyweights from the UK with a Nigerian name. I can't remember his name. He might be a candidate for playing Frank Bruno because he has the kind of physique. He's tall. He's young. So, you know, you could play Bruno when he was young, but obviously we don't know if he can act. That's the thing. Who else have you got? Skepta. Some of you may not know Skepta if you're not into grime music, but he's basically a rapper in the UK. He has the stature. He has the deep voice. He obviously understands London and all that kind of thing. Again, I don't know if he can act, but he's somebody that I would put forward as a candidate. And the one person I think a lot of people will be putting forward as a candidate is Anthony Joshua. They see a lot of parallels between Bruno and Joshua in terms of his physique. He's British. He's loved by the public. And to be honest with you, if they did get Joshua to play Bruno, even if Joshua can't act, even if the movie is terrible, it would probably be a big box office success just for the fact that Anthony Joshua's in it. So if the money people behind the movie, you know, get their way, then they're probably going to be giving Anthony Joshua a call. Now, Anthony Joshua don't look like Bruno. He is much lighter in skin complexion and whatnot. But the money men in the movie industry will never let accuracy get in the way of some cynical casting. If there's money to be made, none of that stuff matters to them. It is what it is. But yeah, just thought I'd let you guys know about this. Pretty interesting. A movie about Frank Bruno's life is getting made. And never mind who's going to play Frank Bruno. That's obviously going to be difficult to find somebody who can do it. But also, who's going to play the other people? Who's going to play the other fighters that he fought? The Mike Tysons and, the Tim Witherspoons and Bone Crusher Smith. Who's going to play all them type of people? Lennox Lewis. Going to be interesting to see what kind of budget it has and whatnot. I mean, this guy's talking about Will Smith. So maybe there is some type of serious budget, although that's Bruno's agent. So maybe he's just hyping it up a little bit. I don't think there's any way they'd be able to afford Will Smith unless there's some serious film studio behind this. And the movie industry in the UK is a pauper industry, let's be fair. The only time that big movies get made in the UK these days is if it's a foreign studio, like one of the big American studios who, goes to the UK to make the movie, like the Harry Potter movies. I mean, they were British movies in the sense that they had a mostly British cast and they were filmed in Britain, I think. Certainly, a couple of the movies I believe were filmed in Britain, but they were made by an American film studio. So unless there's an American film studio behind the Bruno movie, then all this talk of Will Smiths and all these big well-known actors, they ain't going to get them. They're going to have to get somebody who maybe is not normally an actor, like a Skepta or, one of these boxers, these young up-and-coming heavyweight boxers in the UK, or maybe even a Joshua to do it. It is what it is. Let me know how you feel about it in the comment section below. Who would play Mickey Duff? Who would play Terry Lawless? Who would play George Francis? Who would play Bruno's wife, Laura? Maybe you could get Talisa from N-Dubs to play Bruno's wife if you got Skepta to play Frank Bruno. Let me know how you feel, people. It's your boy Hatman. I'm out.